Hello, hello, and good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the show. One of the biggest problems that we face today is communication. A lot of times we just don't listen properly, and as a result, we have all these misunderstandings. In this video, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks on how to be an effective listener. If you're new to us, this is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. And here on our channel, we help to educate, we help to empower, and we help to encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications, go to that next level, and live the life that you have always wanted. We are excited that you're here. You've caught us day number 23. That's right, day number 23 in our live every day in August as we talk about designing a new me, designing a better version of ourselves. That's what we're talking about. And we're going to continue doing that as we get through the month. And guys, we've been having a good time. I've been excited about the things we've been talking about, learning about how to design a better version of me. If you are new to the community, new to the neighborhood, go ahead and put new in the comments because we would love to give you a hand clap and some music to welcome you here. If you also are new and you have questions as we get throughout the discussion tonight, go ahead and put a Q and a colon in front of the question, and we know that that's one that we need to get to. If you're on one of our social media platforms, we're streaming right now to Facebook, we're streaming to Twitter, we're streaming to LinkedIn. Go ahead and you can hop on over here, drop us a message. You can follow us on all of our social media platforms. That's at Dwayne Wood MD, and you'll see it there on the screen, right about there, right? Dwayne Wood MD. Dwayne Wood MD. That is our social media handle. Let me just do one thing here for a minute, guys, and I am just going to be testing out our audio to make sure that everything is going fine. Hold on a minute. All right, so we have audio. We had some issues a couple of shows ago. So, all right. So that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about listening. And listening is one of those things that we've got to do if we are talking about designing a better version of ourselves, right? Because we are in the world now. We're making connections. We are being in the community. So most of us think that we're actually good listeners, right? After all, we hear people talking all the time. But there's more to listening than just hearing the words. There are actually various levels of listening, which we won't get into, but most of us really just surface or float on the surface of the listening, right? We can go much, much deeper than we currently do. And the question that comes in, if listening is so important, why aren't we better listeners, right? Why are we not better listeners? And it comes down to maybe three basic reasons. Number one, we are planning, when we're listening to people, we're planning our response while the other person is still talking, right? Isn't that often that you see, right? So they're telling you something, and in your head, you're like, okay, as soon as they finish, I'm constructing my response. I'm constructing what I'm going to say. So I'm really not hearing and understanding what they're saying. I'm just getting those words in, and those words that they're saying are really constructing for me what my response is going to be. So we are putting that together while the person is talking. The other thing is that we tend to be distracted, right? In this world of social media, cell phones, of Instagram and Facebook, right? Sometimes we're distracted, or sometimes we're thinking about something else. We're planning that meal. We're planning that trip. We're planning that event that we've got to go to, right? We're thinking about the next meeting that's coming up, right? Because this one, we're first of all, we're planning our responses. We're not really here because we're somewhere else. We have all this other stuff that's going on, right? Somebody's talking and we're looking at them, but we're actually gazing at that window that's behind them and seeing what's going outside. Looking at that tree, the bird, whatever it is that's happening, right? Maybe that television that is outside the room that you're in that you can see, right? So there's all this stuff. We may be even daydreaming, right? So lots of different reasons. And then the other thing is, we've done a show here about communication and miscommunication. So the third thing is that we allow our biases and our preconceptions to color our understanding of what the other person is saying. So remember, in order for communication to happen, the person has to have an idea, have some representation of that idea in their mind. That idea is there. They've got to convert it to words. They've got to speak those words. And all of that's being colored by their filters. Then we have to hear it, decode it. It goes through all of our filters. Then it becomes a representation in our mind. And then that thought is what we have. So there are all these steps that go on. So if we have biases and preconceptions, then it's coloring everything that we're hearing. So lots of reasons why we're not better listeners. So are there really good reasons to be a better listener? All right. What are the benefits? Well, one is going to help you understand what the other person is saying and understand the world around you. By paying attention, right, you get data. You get to know what's happening. You get to know how people are feeling. You get to know how people are thinking about various subjects. By paying attention to what other people are saying, you can learn new things and gain valuable insights about the world. Listening, being a good listener and understanding allows you, right, to connect with people. It allows you to be more confident in your knowledge. And it's been shown that if you're a good listener, you have lower stress and lower anxiety. Isn't that amazing? That being a good listener has those effects on you. And when you are a good listener, lower stress, lower anxiety, then you can problem solve better and make fewer mistakes. I love that. So all those things are benefits. And then it can help you build strong relationships, which can be good personally and also good in the professional sense, right? Because when you're a good listener, people think they know that you have their best interest, that you are interested in what they're saying. You're interested in their thoughts, their opinions. And it makes the experience of talking to you much more enjoyable. So people, do you know anybody where, you just pick up the phone and call just because they're a good listener? Yeah. Sometimes, right? Just, okay, hey, let me call John, let me call Joe, let me call Jill, whoever it is, because they're a good listener. And good listeners in the business sense tend to be better leaders because they're able to hear people. They're able to process that information. They're able to see different points of view. They're able to come up with strategies and come up with solutions so they make better leaders. So lots of reasons why being a good listener is something that we should all strive for. So how do you become a better listener? Well, one, we've got to understand a few things. People talk about 5 things. These are their favorite subjects, right? Their favorite subjects. One, they like to talk about themselves. People like to talk about themselves. So if you see someone, right, and you want to engage them, ask them about themselves. People like to talk about themselves. They like to tell you their stories. They like to tell you what's been going on in their lives. Number one, their favorite subject, themselves. Number 2, they like to talk about their opinions. So not only about me, but how do I feel about the world around me? What opinion do I have? And it almost doesn't matter what you talk about, right? Because everybody has an opinion about everything. The third thing they like to talk about is other people and how they interact with other people. Then they like to talk about things. That's number 4. They look things around them, their house, their car, their clothes, their family, And then finally, they like to talk about you. I know that hurts your feelings, right? But they really are not interested in you. They like to talk about you when they ask you a question. So oftentimes we've run into the problem of jumping into telling somebody about us when they haven't gone through the list yet. They haven't talked about themselves. They've not finished talking about their opinion on other people and other things. And here we come. Right? Those are their 5 favorite subjects. So how do we become better listeners? How do we become better listeners? 5 things that I want to talk about. Number 1, we want to be present. We want to be present. Be in the here and now. Be in the here and now. Turn off the cell phone. Get rid of the distractions. Turn off the television. Don't have the movie playing in the background. Find a space for you to have a conversation. Turn off your desire to be thinking about what you're going to say. You remember that? Right? Because you're thinking about your answer. Turn that off. Be present here and think about the person. You got to suspend your biases and your preconceptions to just hear what the person is saying. Sometimes we go into a conversation having prepared for the conversation, and sometimes that does more harm than good because we're really not hearing what the person is saying. We've got these little pieces of things that we've put together. So if they say this, we're going to say that. If they mention that, we're going to bring this up, right? So all the time they're talking, we're trying to find that piece of information that we found that's going to fit what they just said. So number 1, be present, be in the here and now. Number 2, repeat their last words to them. Repeat their last words to them. People feel like you are engaging. Remember, people like to talk about themselves, their opinions about other people, about things, and then finally you. So repeat their last words. Shows that you're connecting, that you're listening. Try to repeat the words exactly. And don't put it in your words unless you have to. Unless you need clarification. Unless you have to get, okay, is this what you're trying to say? But usually repeat their words back to them. It shows connection. It shows that you're listening. Number 3, be an active listener. An active listener. So this is an interesting one, right? So I mentioned earlier that there are lots of different levels. There's passive listening, there's active listening, there's contemplative listening, there's deep listening, lots of different things. But in order to be an active listener, you've got to be paying attention, making eye contact. You've got to be giving some bodily, right? So nonverbal, okay, nodding the head to show, okay, I'm listening, I'm hearing, right? Right? You're giving some verbal cues. All those things show that you are engaged in listening to this person and that you're concerned about what they are saying. Yeah. Even if that doesn't come naturally to you, right? You've got to learn how to do that. It is a skill. It is a skill that you can learn. Number four, ask clarifying questions. Do not assume that you understand, or don't let something go by and not think about it. Don't let it go by. Ask a question. If you don't understand, find out, hey, what did you actually mean by that? Be curious. Allow the person to be important enough that you're curious to make sure that you understand what they're saying, what they're conveying. And then pay attention to your talk-listen ratio. Wow. Right? Because we all, what's your favorite subject? Or what are your favorite subjects? That's right. You, your opinion, other people, things, and then the other person. But if you're going to be a good listener, a better listener, then you have got to now turn that off so that your attention is on the person. And if you find yourself talking more than they are, then you're not actually being a good listener. You might be a great talker, maybe a great person who gives advice, a great counselor, but you're not a better listener. Wait until the person finishes, until they're done, until they've finished their thought before you respond. Don't be so quick to jump in. Because have you ever had the situation where someone is talking and you pause for a minute, well, not even a minute, and you jump in to give your answer and they're like, oh, and they continue? Well, number one, give them a chance to finish and give that silence, give that pause. Let them, because sometimes there's still stuff going on. They finish saying the words, but their brain is still processing. There's something hasn't gotten out there yet. So give them a chance before you respond. There's a saying that there are no uninteresting people, only disinterested listeners. So don't be a disinterested listener. Right? Put your all, pay attention, allow them to speak. And they said that the ratio should be 2 to 1. They should be talking twice as much as you are to be a good listener. Right? Remember, that's what we're working on. How do we become better? How do we become better listeners? So here's an action plan for you. Are you ready? Yeah, here's the action plan. Don't worry about what to say. Just go into each conversation with the other person in mind. Right? Just be there. Listen and ask questions about the other person. If they're talking about a particular subject, ask questions about that subject. And then ask some more questions. Think about them instead of thinking about yourself. And remember their 5 favorite subjects: themselves, their opinion, other people, things, and then you. Don't talk about yourself unless and until the other person asks. And in all of this, have fun. Right? Because after all, our goal in designing a new version of ourselves, our goal in learning and listening is to expand, to enjoy the world around us, to connect to people. Enjoy the process. If you don't think you're a good listener, get out there and practice. We like to think of ourselves as good listeners, but the truth is most of us could stand to improve our listening skills. It's no secret that we're not the best listeners. In fact, studies have shown that we only remember about 25% of what we hear. The next time you find yourself struggling to listen, or you're having a conversation, try the steps we just talked about. By making a conscious effort to really listen to what other people are saying, you can improve your relationships and the ability to learn new information. And you can improve the overall quality of your life. Remember, we're talking about getting the life we've wanted, designing a new us, designing a better version of ourselves. And this is one of those skills that's going to be so beneficial in getting us down the road. I want to thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. And here on the channel, we help to educate, we help to empower, and we help to encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and live that life you've always wanted. If you've not done so, go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you're getting benefit from the videos that we're doing. Give us a thumbs up for this video and share it with your family and friends. Give us a like. Let them know what we're doing. We're on day number 23, moving into day number 24 tomorrow. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you at the next video. Good night, everybody. Let's get some music and get out of here. Bye-bye.